Live from the studios at the University of Kansas, you are watching KUJH-TV News.
KU students have a new leader, and her uncontested election marks a historical moment on campus. We'll tell you more about Tiara Floyd's road to the presidency.
And it may be convenient, but how safe is it? We'll tell you what Uber drivers and their passengers are doing to keep each other in check.
But first, KU decided to solidify its opinion on the checks versus stripes debate with a decade-long deal. We have all the details on the newly announced Adidas contract. Welcome to KUJH News. I'm Becky Phelps.
And I'm Emily Natwick. Breaking news from Chancellor Douglas Girard, Adidas and KU have reached an agreement for renewal of their sponsorship deal. Zach, what can you tell us about this deal?
Thank you, Becky and Emily. The agreement is for 14 years and it's worth $14 million annually. And that comes out to about $196 million over the course of that agreement. It's one of the largest apparel partnerships in college athletics. The deal includes $500,000 annually to a commitment at education at KU. And here's what the document reads. We sought a partnership that would benefit not just Kansas athletics, but also the university's broader academic mission and constituents, including students, faculty, and staff. And then later in the document, it says certainly ongoing challenges related to apparel companies and college basketball were central to our decision. Throughout this process, we were unyielding in our commitment to seeking a partner that shares our values. And those ongoing challenges are like the ones that Kansas and Adidas experienced with former Adidas consultant TJ Gasnola and KU players Billy Preston and Silvio De Sousa. By getting this contract, Adidas retained their big dog in men's basketball. Kansas benefits from the new deal with the contract with a lot of zeros and a long-term commitment.
The university's new student body president will be taking the reins during KU's Student Senate turnover today. Tiara Floyd is the first woman of color to win the election. She served on student government for one school year, but she felt she could make a bigger impact by breaking barriers and running for the presidency. She won her uncontested race earlier this month.
One of KU's associate professors received a promotion due to her stellar academic background in issues of diversity and inclusion. Jennifer Ng will serve as the interim vice provost for diversity and equity. KU's interim provost, Carl Lejwe, made the announcement on Tuesday. Ng is an associate professor from the School of Education and has been at KU since 2004. Ng is a current member of the Kansas Advisory Committee to the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights. She co-founded the Asian and Asian American Faculty Staff Council at KU in 2014. Carl Lejwe says she's exactly the right person for this kind of position.
The position itself, part of it is being the person someone can go to when they feel like the university is not living up to our standards, and when it comes to diversity, when it comes to creating a level playing field for everyone, making it a place where people feel included and that they're welcome here at the university.
Ng will be filling the position for Jennifer Hammer, and she will leave KU this summer for a position at Pennsylvania State University. Ng will start her new position when the spring semester ends. The sun has been hiding for the last couple days.
I know. Are you happy about that, or are you sad about that?
No, I miss it. I want more
I do
weather.
too. It's coming. Don't worry, Becky.
Good.
I'll get you some sun. We'll get to that right now here. It is a nice day out there. It's a little bit on the cool side, 68 degrees right now. We are seeing a mostly cloudy sky out there. That will change as we head through the next few hours. We're starting to see a decrease in cloud coverage. Taking a look at our current satellite imagery here. For us in eastern Kansas, we're seeing still that kind of thick cloud coverage, but just out to our west, starting to see some sunshine. Way out to the west, they had sun for most of the day today, and that's why they saw temperatures climb into the upper 70s. So they saw mostly sunny skies, temperatures in the 70s, and we saw mostly cloudy skies, temperatures in the upper 60s. So things will change as we head through your day tomorrow. We'll start to see more sunshine and temperatures finally on the rebound. Check out your precipitation look here. Since April 1st, we are actually at a deficit, just over 0.8 of an inch of a deficit. So we do need some rainfall, but as far as the year goes, we're actually doing all right. We're just about average, just about 1/10 of an inch of a surplus for precipitation for the year. But for the month, we definitely could use some more. So we'll hopefully see that here in the next few days. So what to expect here? We do have some decreasing clouds to talk about, and then the breezy conditions do return for your day tomorrow, and then also so does the sun. And we'll have all the details in that 7-day forecast coming up.
Kansas gas prices climbed to 20 cents more a gallon in just a month, and Lawrence drivers are feeling the burn. Gas prices average about $2.64 a gallon. AAA says that the increase is because gas companies are switching to a more expensive summer blend and people drive more in the warmer months. Experts say that gas prices could continue to go up, and some Lawrence drivers are worried about what that means for their wallets.
It's a part of your daily lifestyle and you budget for it, and then you have to put more hours, and it's just people can't necessarily just go get a brand new job, so they might have to take money out of their groceries to put into the budget for gas.
Experts say drivers can increase gas mileage by getting regular oil changes and making sure their tires are inflated properly. 2 weeks ago, a South Carolina student got into a car she thought was her Uber. Her death sent shocks through the country. KUJH reporter Hannah Thurman is live in the newsroom. Hannah, have Uber safety concerns spread?
Emily, they have, but it may not be here. We don't see headlines like this one frequently, but occasionally we hear stories of passengers jumping out of Ubers or Lyfts because of an attempted kidnapping.
CNN reporters found 103 cases of sexual assault on female passengers in 20 big cities across the U.S. KU student Jess Collins says the student's death reminded her of the time she and some friends were threatened by their Uber driver.
At first he was just being rude, kind of making rude comments, and then finally I told her to kind of quiet down because I was scared for my safety, and he said, "Do you want me to take you to a safe place or not?"
Collins says she fears that something like this could happen to her friends or herself.
I've heard of so many horror stories from friends on different college campuses and just, weird things happening.
KU Deputy Chief of Police James Anguiano says he hasn't seen issues with rideshare apps on campus because students on campus use KU's Safe Ride option.
Both apps are pretty good about identifying the driver, the make of the car, and the license plate. So verify the license plate as well and the make of the car.
Anguiano says make the driver identify you. Sit in the back of the car and make sure the child protection lock is off.
If you don't feel safe when you're in the car, call 911 and try to get out as soon as you can.
The South Carolina House of Representatives recently passed a bill requiring Uber and Lyft drivers to have a sign on the car to ensure passenger safety.
Another tragedy could happen. If you get into an Uber, remember Anguiano's advice and ask the driver who the ride is for. Live in the newsroom, Hannah Thurman, KUJH News, back to you.
The KU Union Gallery is hosting the What Were You Wearing exhibit for a third year in a row. The exhibit features clothes hanging on the walls representing what people were wearing when they became a victim of sexual assault. KUJH reporter Ellen Terhune experienced the exhibit. Ellen, what makes the display so impactful?
Well, Emily, it's the stories posted on the walls next to the clothes that are captivating visitors. One KU student was just 6 years old wearing a pink sundress when she became a victim of sexual assault, while another was in her pajamas each time she was assaulted during the span of 10 years. While all of these 18 stories on display differ, they're all sending the same message to visitors.
I can see myself in a fair amount of these outfits, and I know a lot of people can see themselves in a lot of these outfits because it's just common clothes. It's not like it's always about what she or he's wearing. It's really just the perpetrator being a perpetrator. It's not anything about the victim. The victim didn't have a choice. That's the whole point.
Jennifer Brockman brought the exhibit to KU in 2017 after founding it at Arkansas in 2013. The project here at KU has since inspired 500 similar exhibits across 6 different continents. Brockman collects stories from victims every year to incorporate into the project. She says it is so powerful because the clothes resonate with everyone.
It really speaks to a mythology that has surrounded sexual violence for all of our lives, which is somehow your clothing was the catalyst for this harm, and not that the person who caused harm is responsible.
If you have a story you want to share or just need to talk to someone, you can come here and write it in this journal. Brockman will only use your story if you write consent next to your entry. If you haven't had the chance to stop by, you still have until Friday. From the Union, Ellen Terhune, KUJH News.
With summer right around the corner, campers who seek to go glamping will have a new way of doing so. Glamping provides the enjoyment of being outdoors with the comforts of home. KUJH reporter Angelica Costello is live in Lecompton. Angelica, what's different about glamping?
Well, Becky, the glamping experience is camping, but it provides luxury. With wagon behind me, it provides that experience for campers, but it's on wheels. It provides all the amenities that they just would like.
Donna and Dennis Steinman are adding a twist to the growing glamping world. Camping sites will soon have more than just tents. They'll have wagons. The Steinmans have taken the design of a traditional Conestoga wagon and turned it into a 26 by 10 foot covered sleeper.
I've always been amazed at these wagons. When I was a kid, my dad made us a covered wagon and we took it to the county fair when I was like 10 years old and drove it 18 miles to the fair, camped overnight on the way, and so it was cool.
Dennis says he made the wagon as an accommodation for people. He says this gives outdoor venues the option of doing something different for their guests.
Gives people an opportunity to go out somewhere in a nice place where it's probably quiet, you know, and maybe have a campfire and camp, but not give up the amenities of home. And that's what glamping is.
The wagon has electricity along with heating and cooling. It can also handle various sleeping accommodations.
This will hold up to a king-size bed. We can put 2 sets of bunk beds in it. And then our plans are to build little cabinets, maybe to enclose a little refrigerator.
The Steinmans say everything in the wagon is completely customizable along with the furniture. They're currently working on designs to add a restroom and maybe even a small shower. Live from Lecompton, Angelica Castello, KUJH News. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Angelica. Well, I've never been glamping. I normally just stick to tents and cabins.
Yeah, classic pitching a tent is what I'm all about, but that does seem like a fun option.
Still to come on KUJH News, President Trump is pushing back. We'll tell you how the White House is continuing to block Democrats' subpoenas from the Senate.
And Democratic presidential candidates are pushing to pay reparations for slavery almost 200 years later. How this issue will play in 2020. Stay with us.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school and I didn't do it. My support team never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew who I could become as a person. I've been given an opportunity and I'm just thankful for it.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Another summer day has come and gone away from Paris or Rome, but I wanna go home. Oh, I miss you, you know. Let me go home. It'll all be alright. I'll be home tonight. I'm coming back home.
Elizabeth Warren's $1 trillion plan to cancel student loan debt is getting a lot of attention, but leaves many people wondering if a plan that ambitious is even possible. It would eliminate up to $50,000 for every debtor with a household income of less than $100,000. She would do this by putting a wealth tax on the 1%ers. One KU professor says her proposal would not hurt that many people.
A lot of their proposals, especially that one, is by a wealth tax on the top 0.01%. That's less than 1,000 people. And they don't need the money.
Warren's proposal is making her popular with left-leaning supporters, but it's also getting backlash from people who already personally repaid their student loans. A new litmus test for 2020 Democratic hopefuls centers around reparations for slavery. The discussion started at the National Action Network Conference. 11 of the 20 Democratic candidates have already put their support behind a study bill for reparations. A KU African American Studies professor says the idea of repaying is something that must happen, but for more than just slavery.
And I think
I think that reparations is one way to do that. That for the African population in the United States, it's not just about slavery. It's about the effects of Jim Crow and the underemployment, the unemployment, the lack of support for housing.
Some people argue there is not an effective way to distribute such payments, and the bill is looking back to the past instead of trying to move forward.
White House senior advisor Jared Kushner is downplaying Russian interference in the 2016 election. And while Kushner touted his cooperation with the Mueller probe, the White House continues to stonewall multiple investigations. CNN's Caitlin Collins has more on what a top Democrat is calling an open deficit by the White House.
The White House testing the power of Congress today, resisting a wave of subpoenas from House Democrats and telling a former security director not to show up for his scheduled testimony on security clearances, leaving the hallways of Capitol Hill empty. Democrats are now threatening to hold Carl Klein in contempt. In a scathing statement, House Oversight Chairman Elijah Cummings said the White House and Klein now stand in open defiance of a duly authorized congressional subpoena, with no assertion of any privilege of any kind by President Trump. Late Monday night, the White House told Klein to ignore the subpoena because it was unconstitutional. Democrats want to talk to him after a whistleblower said he played a role in the White House overturning security clearances that were initially denied to some of the president's advisors, including Jared Kushner, who maintained today that he's done nothing wrong.
I've adhered to every single one of the ethics waivers that they want me to barriers that they want me to keep. I've done nothing that's kind of influenced any of my decisions.
The latest move, part of the White House effort to stonewall Democrats.
Let's take a quick look at news from across the nation. Some retired veterans in New Mexico who took Border Patrol duties into their own hands have left their station. A group that calls themselves the United Constitutional Patriots set up a campsite near a border gap to look out for illegal crossings. Police told them to leave because they were on city and railroad company land. The group says they plan to set up another location soon. Ford is playing a game of catch-up after falling behind in the electric vehicle game. It's teaming up with electric pickup truck maker Rivian through a $500 million investment. The two companies plan to develop a Ford battery plug-in truck, and on top of that, Ford will continue its own electric car developments. The automaker hasn't started production yet. The time Americans spend sitting in front of computer screens is rising dramatically. A new study from the American Medical Association shows leisure computer use rose as much as 38% this century, and a quarter of Americans look at the screen for at least 3 hours a day. Cardiologists say short breaks of light physical activity can help offset the increased risk of heart disease. And that's your look at news from across the nation.
Wow, I mean, yeah, a lot of people are staring at their screens, but you know it's spring on campus when people are out on Wesco Beach.
Yes, exactly. I'm ready for some spring thunderstorms. So we have that possibility. Details coming up.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
Jessica, we need to leave right now.
I need to get something. Dance recitals are so boring.
There's a meaning no one knows. Waiting to be set
So,
free.
what's the empty suitcase for?
The grand prize trophy.
Duh.
Confidence. Pass it on.
I was born to be somebody.
Well, welcome back. A nice day out there. We are finally seeing these winds calm down. So we have very calm conditions out there across the entire region. So that's nice. That will change though as we head into your day tomorrow. We are seeing a mostly cloudy sky. Temperature is right around 68 degrees. Taking a look at our current radar out there, really not a whole lot going on. It's a pretty quiet day across eastern Kansas here, and we do have another chance for some rainfall coming up. But for the most part, across the entire Midwest here, we're seeing very quiet conditions. And that will persist into tomorrow. We'll start to see a few thunderstorms develop through Nebraska that will try and make their way to our area, but I'm just not so sold on that right now. Breezy conditions for your day tomorrow, so those gusty winds will return for your Thursday. A nice spring day for Friday. It's looking sunny, calm winds. It's going to be a great day. And then we have our next chance for some thunderstorms. I think our best chance will be Friday night into Saturday morning. For our evening planner, though, it's going to be a nice evening. 68 degrees at 6 o'clock. Check out these winds, though, staying nice and kind of calm through the evening, switching out of the south. So all in all, it'll be a nice, pleasant evening. And because of that, it's bonfire season. It's going to be a great night. This is a nice picture from Emily. Thank you so much, Emily. You're fantastic. She had some fun with some s'mores, and it's a great time for that. Great time of year, especially with some nice light winds. For your day tomorrow, that cool front will come through tomorrow evening. So 74 degrees actually will be the high midday. Then we'll start to cool off as we head on into the afternoon and evening. But 74 is going to be a nice day. We do have a very slight chance for a thunderstorm. So if that system stays together, we could see an afternoon shower, a couple rumbles of thunder possible. But it's not going to be widespread, and if we do see it, it'll just be a quick little pop-up. So about 20% chance there, but winds gusty tomorrow, up to 30 miles per hour again for your day. Here's your futurecast here Wednesday at 4, this is going to be Thursday at 4 o'clock. You can see just a slight little chance for a pop-up shower. So just keep that in mind as you head through your day tomorrow, but we should just see a mostly sunny sky other than that. Saturday, 74 degrees, 40% chance for some morning thunderstorms. Cool on Saturday night, and then 70 for your day on Sunday. This is when our next kind of best chance for some more widespread precipitation is. This is Friday night. A nice little cold front here. It's looking like we could see some nice thunderstorms with that. And then again through the night on into Saturday morning. Your 7-day forecast here, 74 degrees tomorrow, 73 on Friday, and sunny, light winds. That's going to be our best day, I think, of the next few days. 73, you really can't beat that. 40% chance for some isolated storms on Saturday morning, 75 Sunday, and then we kind of hover in the 70s, upper 60s, and low 70s for the rest of that 7-day. A couple chances for some isolated thunderstorms next week, but hey, we're headed on into spring, so it's that time of year.
Thanks, Lauren. Well, we already touched on sports a little bit, but I'm sure there's more to talk about.
Well, there is always more to talk about with sports, including new information on Tyreek Hill and a situation that you will not want to miss out on. Plus, we preview the Kansas baseball game tonight. Make sure to stay with us.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? But now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
I want some more.
What's he doing?
Lisa, I want some more.
More? He has asked for more!
Thank you.
Well, he did say please. Yes, he did. And thank you.
Please, and thank you. Pass it on.
Thank you.
Welcome back. With the return of Udoka Azubuike and the potential return of Silvio De Sousa if the NCAA agrees with the appeal that KU made last week, this upcoming basketball season may not be as dreary for the Jayhawks as some might expect. The last recruits coming out of high school for 2019 are not likely to be signing with Kansas, but there is one area the Jayhawks could get a decent amount of firepower from, and that is through the grad transfers. Just a quick rundown of the grad transfer program intent, and then we will go over some of the potential names for Kansas. Grad transfers are student athletes who have graduated from their university before using up their playing eligibility. The intent of the program is for student athletes to go and pursue a degree of interest that may not have been offered at their undergraduate school. But according to the NCAA, a good amount of grad transfers drop out before even finishing their postgraduate studies. 3 names to watch for grad transfers. The first is Mattea Kavas. He is the 6'8" forward from Seattle, and in his career, he has shot 45% from three-point range. One concern, though, is he's not fast enough to get out of the big man position. And the second name that I want to talk about here is actually Matt Milon. I'm sorry, Mateo was right here. He is the 6'5" wing from William Mary. Milon is 42% from three-point land, and that's on 464 attempts. He could add some shooting ability to the bench. And the last and probably the most likely for the Kansas Jayhawks to land is Rajon Tucker. He's a 6'5" guard from Arkansas Little Rock, and he is a 42% shooter from three. Anyone else noticing a trend here? He could add a quick element that the Jayhawks lacked last year in the perimeter defense. He is visiting Lawrence in early May as well. The Kansas baseball team is back in town from a weekend in Morgantown from the one game against the Creighton Blue Jays. The game starts at 6 p.m. Steve Wasilewski is starting tonight for the Jayhawks against a pretty decent Blue Jay team. Wasilewski has a 2-1 record to go along with a 3.62 ERA this season. Creighton's record is 23-8, and they're on a 4-game winning streak. The season stats for the Kansas Jayhawks and Creighton Blue Jays are extremely close. They're only 7 hits apart from being even in the season's totals, as well as their RBIs. The two teams are only 10 apart from being even, so this should be a very even matchup for the Jayhawks and Blue Jays. And in the last 10 games for Kansas, they have won 5 games and lost 5 games. And being there only are 3 Big 12 series left in Texas and TCU and Kansas State. This could be big for the Jayhawks if they want to go on somewhat of a winning streak to close out their season. And there's new information out about the Chiefs wide receiver Tyreek Hill, who was under investigation for child abuse and neglect back in March when officers visited his residence. Johnson County District Attorney Steve Howe just had a press conference today at 3 p.m. where he announced that he will not file charges in this investigation. He acknowledged that a crime was committed, but there was no conclusive evidence to who committed that crime. This is huge news for the Chiefs organization, as this is the first word since the investigations were thrown out there. Fans have been anxiously waiting on anything to be said about the speedy wide receiver. Tyreek is not exactly in the clear right now. The next step will be an NFL investigation of the incident. Since Tyreek was not charged by the DA, there's a good chance that Tyreek will receive little to no punishment going into the season next year. That's all we have for sports for you today. What is left in the news, Emily?
Thanks, Zach. You'll have to keep all the Chiefs fans up to date on Tyreek. Still to come on KUJH News, a 2-year-long reunion in the making finally comes true for a Florida family, thanks to the help of a Colorado deputy. We'll tell you how a stolen puppy wound up so far from home. Stay with us.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
When I get all steamed up, then I shout.
Tip me over and pour me out. Oh.
It only takes a moment to make a moment.
Cheers.
Take time to be a dad today.
My twin brother Jacob has an autism spectrum disorder. He didn't have any friends as a result. It broke my heart. That was the inspiration behind my nonprofit Score a Friend. Educating people to include people with differences is so important, because when Jacob's included, he feels like he can succeed in life and he feels like he actually has a purpose.
A dog belonging to a Florida family returned home after 2 long years apart. Someone stole 4-month-old pup Cedar from the family's backyard in 2017. A Colorado deputy found Cedar last week in a ditch. They say the dog looked malnourished and cold, so the officer took her to see a doctor. The vet was able to scan the dog's microchip and found her family nearly 2,000 miles away. Wings of Rescue flew Cedar home to her happily ever after.
That's an incredible story. I'm so glad that dog got home.
How
2,000
sweet.
miles,
How
wow.
sweet.
That's crazy. Well, that's KUJH News for Wednesday, April 24th.
To view our stories again or to share them with your friends, visit our website at tv.ku.edu.
And check us out this Friday at 4 for the latest news, weather, and sports.
Thanks for joining us. Have a great evening.